Have you ever heard of giant drawings etched into a desert floor, so massive you can only truly see them from the sky? No, this isn't science fiction. This is the incredible mystery of the Nazca Lines. Deep in the arid plains of southern Peru, hundreds of gigantic figures are carved into the earth. We're talking about hummingbirds, spiders, monkeys, and even a figure that some call the astronaut. These aren't just doodles. Some of these geoglyphs stretch over 370 meters long. That's almost 4 football fields. For centuries, these massive designs lay hidden in plain sight, invisible to those walking on the ground. It wasn't until the 1920s and 30s, with the rise of commercial air travel, that pilots flying over the region were stunned to see these enormous figures staring back up at them. Imagine their surprise. Suddenly, the world was faced with a profound puzzle. Who created these lines? And more importantly, why? The creators were the Nazca people, a culture that flourished in this region from around 100 BCE to 800 CE. They were a pre-Inca civilization, and they left behind no written language. All we have are their intricate pottery, their textiles, and of course, these enigmatic lines. This lack of written records is what makes the Nazca Lines one of archaeology's greatest unsolved mysteries. We have the what, the where, and the who, but the why remains a subject of intense debate. So, how did they do it? The technique was surprisingly simple, yet incredibly precise. The Nazca Desert is covered by a layer of reddish-brown, iron oxide-coated pebbles. The Nazca people carefully removed this top layer to expose the lighter-colored soil underneath, creating a stark contrast that formed the lines. The region's unique climate, extremely dry, windless, and stable, has preserved these delicate drawings for over 2,000 years. It's like a giant natural canvas that has barely been touched by time. But again, why go to all this trouble? The theories are as vast and varied as the lines themselves. One of the earliest and most popular ideas came from a German mathematician and archaeologist named Maria Reich. Known as the Lady of the Lines, she dedicated her life to studying and preserving them. Reich proposed that the Nazca Lines were a giant astronomical calendar. She suggested that some lines pointed to the rising or setting of the sun, moon, and specific stars during important times of the year, like the solstices. This would have helped the Nazca people mark planting and harvesting seasons, crucial for survival in such a harsh environment. Think about it, a celestial map laid out on the desert floor. The spider figure, for instance, might be linked to the constellation Orion. The monkey could be related to the Pleiades. It's a compelling theory that connects the people on the ground to the heavens above. Maria Reich spent decades meticulously mapping the lines, living in a small hut in the desert, fiercely protecting the site from damage. Her work was fundamental in getting the Nazca Lines recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1994, ensuring their protection for generations to come. But the astronomical theory isn't the only one. Other researchers believe the lines had a more direct, ritualistic purpose. Archaeologists Johann Reinhard and Anthony Aveni have presented compelling arguments that the lines are connected to water. In one of the driest places on Earth, water is life. They suggest the figures were part of religious ceremonies to appeal to the gods for rain. The straight lines often lead to sources of water, like rivers or underground aqueducts, while the animal figures represent powerful deities associated with water and fertility. Imagine ancient Nazca shamans and pilgrims walking along these massive lines, chanting and praying in a ceremonial procession that could only be fully appreciated by their gods watching from above. The hummingbird, for example, is often associated with rain in Andean cultures. The spider is a symbol of fertility. These weren't just pictures. They were active ritual pathways, a way to communicate with the divine and ensure the community's survival. This theory gains strength when you consider that fragments of pottery and other offerings have been found at points along the lines, suggesting they were indeed used for rituals. And then, of course, there's the theory that captures everyone's imagination: ancient aliens. Popularized by author Eric von Däniken in his book Chariots of the Gods, this idea suggests that the Nazca Lines were landing strips for extraterrestrial spacecraft. The long, straight lines resemble modern airport runways, and the figures, he argued, were a way to signal to visitors from other worlds. The famous astronaut, or giant figure, with its large, round eyes, is often pointed to as prime evidence for this theory. While the ancient astronaut theory is incredibly popular and makes for great television, it's not taken seriously by the scientific community. Archaeologists point out that the ground in the Nazca region is too soft to support the landing of any heavy craft. Plus, the figures themselves are often quite delicate and would have been easily destroyed. The simpler explanation, that they were made by and for humans, is much more plausible. The Nazca people were clearly sophisticated and capable of incredible feats of engineering and art without any outside help. Their deep understanding of their environment and their rich spiritual beliefs are likely all the explanation we need. Recent research using modern technology like drones has given us an even more detailed look at the lines. In the last few years alone, hundreds of new, smaller geoglyphs have been discovered, many of them located on hillsides. Some of these newly found figures were made by even earlier cultures, like the Paracas and Topara people, pushing the timeline of desert art back even further. Many of these figures depict warriors, plants, and animals, including cats. Yes, giant cats drawn on hillsides, long before they became internet memes. These discoveries suggest that the tradition of creating geoglyphs was more widespread and lasted for a longer period than previously thought. It wasn't just one culture's obsession, but a deep-seated regional tradition spanning over a millennium. The different styles and locations might indicate that the purpose of the lines evolved over time. Perhaps the smaller hillside figures were meant to be seen by people in the valleys below, while the larger, flat-plain figures were for the gods above. So what can we say for sure? We know the Nazca people were master artists and engineers. We know they created these enormous drawings by painstakingly removing the topsoil. We know the dry climate has preserved their work for 2 millennia. But the ultimate purpose remains shrouded in mystery. Were they a calendar? Ritual pathways for water? Offerings to mountain gods? Or a combination of all these things? Perhaps the ambiguity is part of their power. The Nazca Lines force us to confront the limits of our knowledge and to appreciate the ingenuity of ancient cultures. They stand as a silent testament to a people who found a way to leave an indelible mark on the world, a mark so large it has to be seen from the heavens. They transformed their harsh desert landscape into a monumental canvas for their beliefs and aspirations. The next time you look up at the stars, think about the Nazca people looking up at the same sky 2,000 years ago. And then think about them looking down at the earth, and with simple tools and immense creativity, carving their own cosmos into the desert floor. The mystery endures, inviting us to keep looking, keep questioning, and keep wondering. Thanks for joining me on this journey into one of history's greatest puzzles. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the unknown. See you next time.